Welcome to the Explainer. I'm so thrilled you're here today because we're looking at something just truly fascinating. We're going to be exploring a curriculum called the Preschool Phonics Sound Adventure Guide. Normally when we think of learning to read, we picture flashcards, tracing letters on those little dotted lines, or maybe repeating sounds back to a teacher. But, this source material takes a radically different approach. It teaches early literacy through a highly physical, multisensory, full-body curriculum. We're going to dive right in and look at how this guide pairs sounds with characters, and more importantly, with specific physical actions to literally build muscle memory for language. To get us started, I actually want you to try something right now, wherever you are. Just hold out your hand and pretend to squeeze a lemon. Really feel that imaginary juice dripping down. Got it? Okay, hold on to that feeling. Because this simple question, can you learn to read by squeezing an imaginary lemon, is the exact premise of this curriculum. It suggests that tactile, physical engagement isn't just, a brain break from learning. It's the actual mechanism of learning itself. Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1, the sound adventure begins. The curriculum is broken down into phonetic families, and every single family gets its own unique mascot to anchor the sounds. We begin our adventure with the app family. This is the foundational phonetic sound created by combining the short vowel a and the consonant p. It's a massive building block in early literacy, forming the basis for highly recognizable everyday words. But how does the guide actually introduce this to a preschooler? Well, it does it with an incredible amount of energy and character. The guide explicitly instructs the teacher to show a picture of a rabbit holding a cap and perform this exact script verbatim. Meet Hap the rabbit. He loves to hop. Let's say the sound, a, p, app. By immediately connecting the phonetic sound to a memorable physical character who hops, the curriculum really sets the stage for a fully active learning experience. And this brilliantly illustrates how those active principles are applied right to the vocabulary. Think about these basic actions. For the word cap, the child puts their hand on their head. For lap, I invite you to try this right now. Just pat your knees. For map, they hold their hands open like a big piece of paper. And for nap, they rest their head on their hands. So the curriculum immediately links these simple app words to logical, full-body physical gestures. The kid isn't just looking at letters, they're physically becoming the words. But it doesn't stop at the basics. The guide includes some surprisingly diverse vocabulary for preschoolers. Words like sap, where children stretch their arms out like a giant tree, or pap, where they pretend to feed a baby. Then there's rap, which has them clapping a beat, and yap, where they actually make a little dog bark. Yip, yip. Notice how words like pap and sap require imaginative role play rather than just simple pointing. The child has to invent a scenario. It's a much deeper level of cognitive and physical engagement. As we master those sounds, the guide moves us right along to Section 2, Cleaning with Ash the squirrel. Let's meet our next phonetic family, introduced by a character whose specific theme completely dictates the physical actions we'll be doing. For this sound, the guide tells us to show a picture of a squirrel by a trash can with this really brisk setup. This is Ash the squirrel. He likes to keep the forest clean. Let's say the sound, ash, ash. The ash sound is a bit more abrasive, kind of more intense than app, and Ash's chore-based theme reflects that perfectly. Just think about how highly kinetic this word family is. To learn dash, children run in place very fast. For cash, they pretend to count coins. And then for hash and mash, they're pretending to chop food and mash potatoes. For trash, they physically pretend to throw something away. The curriculum utilizes these chore-based, highly physical actions to build muscle memory. The child literally feels the rhythmic, active nature of the ash sound through their own muscles. Now, what's really interesting about this next set of words is the slightly edgy, visceral actions used. To learn bash, the child claps their hands together hard. For gash, they make a line with their finger. And for lash, they forcefully blink their eyes. The curriculum isn't afraid to use strong, intense physical cues to ensure these words completely stick in a young learner's mind. Moving right along to Section 3, Big Bear Eats Menu. Here we shift from short vowels and consonant digraphs to a long vowel pairing, and it's anchored by a very hungry guide. For the eat family, the visual is a bear holding a treat, and the script demands a big, bold delivery. Big Bear Eat is hungry. Let's say the sound, eat, eat. The curriculum is using this totally relatable character motivation, hunger, to teach the long E sound paired with that hard t stop. Bear's vocabulary relies heavily on logical, everyday physical sensations. For beat, hey, I encourage you to join in, pat your chest to a rhythm. For heat, fan yourself like it's a hot day. Meat gets a big imaginary bite, while neat has you smoothing your clothes. Seat means actually sitting down on the floor, and for treat, you rub your tummy. The connection between the lived physical experience and the phonetic sound is incredibly direct here. But again, the guide throws in a fantastic curveball with some advanced vocabulary. It's genuinely surprising that a preschool guide includes high-level words like bleat, fleet, and pleat. And just think about how they teach them. For pleat, the child folds imaginary fabric with their fingers, which is a really complex fine motor skill. For fleet, they pretend to be a fast ship. And for wheat, they wave their hands around like tall grass in the wind. They're learning sophisticated concepts through these surprisingly complex finger and arm movements. From the forest and the bear, we step into section 4, Ellie the Bells Ring. Here, the curriculum shifts away from animal guides entirely, using an inanimate object to anchor the next sound family. Showing a picture of a shiny bell, the instructor announces, "Ding-a-ling! It's Ellie the Bell. Let's say the sound I-ul, ill." This is such a brilliant shift because it heavily mixes auditory cues, that bright ding-a-ling, directly into the kinesthetic ones we've been practicing. The actions for this set rely heavily on social communication and pantomime. For sell, the child holds out their hand like a shopkeeper. For tell, they cup a hand to their ear like they're telling a secret. For well, it's a simple thumbs up, and for yell, they whisper shh and then pretend to shout out loud. It's almost like a mini acting class. They're using physical charades and social cues to decode the L family. Now, as we scan this list in the source text, we find one incredibly surprising curriculum inclusion. The word hell is right there on the vocabulary list. But what's truly fascinating is how the guide handles it so neutrally. The action is simply pretend to be warm or hot. It strictly relies on temperature to teach the L sound, bypassing the phonology entirely. It's a remarkable example of keeping the focus strictly on the physical sensation tied to the phonics. Let's move to and see how this builds in section 5, nesting with consonant blends. This is our most complex sound family yet, a vowel paired with a consonant blend. The pacing really slows down here. The visual is a bird in a nest, and the script takes on a much calmer, quieter tone. Look at the bird in her home. It's a nest. Let's say the sound. Est, est. It's a gentle, soothing preparation for the final set of physical actions. Notice how abstract these est words are compared to what we've seen so far. Words like lest, where the child puts a finger to their lips, or quest, where they put a hand above their eyes like they're looking for hidden treasure. For best, they give themselves a huge hug, and for jest, they make a funny face. The guide brilliantly grounds these highly abstract concepts in simple, intuitive physical charades. And at the very bottom of the est list, we find the word zest. The action? Squeeze an imaginary lemon. We've come full circle. That action I asked you to do at the very beginning of this explainer is the exact kinesthetic tool used to teach a preschooler the word zest. You have now personally experienced the physical mechanics of this amazing phonics adventure. Which leaves us with a profound question as we wrap up. How do physical actions shape the way we first understand language? By tying abstract letters to hops, chops, and imaginary lemons, this curriculum suggests that we don't just learn to read with our eyes and ears, but with our entire bodies. It's an incredible reminder of how deeply connected our muscle memory is to our cognitive development. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I hope you leave today looking at language in a much more physical light.